I would like to start this webinar with a story. And it's a story that I would never have imagined I would actually tell anyone because I was horrified that it even happened. But it was one of the biggest learning experiences of my life. So it was about 10 years ago, and my team and I was working full time as a dentist, and my team and I were planning our summer party. We used to do 2 parties a year. We'd do Christmas and summer, and they were a big deal. You know, we spent a lot of time and effort and planning, and this time we had my assistants had a beautiful home on a lake, and she had a pontoon boat, and we were going to go have a cookout and some drinks and go cruise the lake together and have some fun and laugh and play volleyball. So it was a big part of our year to have this party. And so we had it all planned, and the day came to go. It was a Saturday, and I completely dropped the ball and forgot about it. So I didn't even show up to my team party. Talk about horrifying. So it gets even worse. So the next day I go into the office and I still didn't remember that I forgot. And my front desk person was in there also. Neither one of us should have been in there on a Sunday, but talk about doing things we shouldn't do, working on Sunday. But she was in there too, and I was just chatting with her, and she just was really prickly and angry at me. And I didn't know why. So I finally just asked her. I mean, she had daggers coming out of her eyes. And I said, "So what's wrong? Why are you so upset?" And she says, "Really, Dr. Physics? You didn't even come to our team party." I mean, she was really mad. And you know that feeling you get in your stomach when you all of a sudden realize you've made a really bad mistake. I mean, I was just in tears because I didn't do it on purpose. And they all thought I did, which that speaks to some other issues. But anyway, it was a huge emotional withdrawal from the bank account. You know how we all have emotional bank accounts, and you either make deposits or withdrawals on a daily basis. Well, I think I withdrew all my savings for my team, and I paid a huge price. The lesson in this story for me, and I didn't get it for a while, but I hadn't been taking any time off. I hadn't been restoring myself. I was well aware of how important it is to take time off. And I had been taking some time off, but it was only 3 and 4 day weekends. Most dentists work 4 days a week, and I had Fridays off. Sometimes I'd take a Monday off too. But here's the problem with that. Just like your cell phone, when it says 10%, if you only plug it in for a few minutes, how helpful is that? I guess it helps for a few minutes. But you don't get the full recharge, and you can't carry it around all day and have it work well. So same with people. We have to take more than a couple days off to fully restore ourselves. And a week or two is really minimum, and it has to be pretty consistent. In fact, 1 week is just enough time to start relaxing. And you know you take vacations for a week, and it's Saturday, you get to go back to work on Monday, and you just feel like you just started to relax. So fully recharging your battery is hugely important, and why vacation is so imperative. So it also reduces stress and helps us to manage stress. I didn't know this at the time, and I've learned this recently, that the number one way dentists are dying today is because of early stress-induced heart disease. So why is that happening? And I have my own theory about it. And first of all, our profession is so stressful. It's like have you heard the story of the frog in the boiling water? If you take a frog and you put him in a pot of water, then you turn the heat on, the frog is just going to sit there as it slowly gets warmer and warmer and warmer. They don't even realize they're in the heat until it boils. And of course they die. They don't even jump out. We get so used to being in a state of stress and anxiety and tension, we don't even realize we need a vacation. I mean, I didn't realize I was forgetting my team party. And it's amazing what can happen when we're in that state of mind. So if you take a frog who is not in the boiling water, you just have him in your hand, and you boil a pot of water, if you throw the frog in the water, he's going to try to jump out as fast as he can because he's not used to that heat. So back to the stress-induced heart disease being the number one reason dentists are dying. Think about how often we sit next to anxious patients all day long. We do anesthetic on them, and they're anxious, and there have been studies that hook the dentist and the patient up to measure their heart rate, respiratory rate, and their blood pressure. The dentist's vital signs started to mirror that of the patient consistently. So that's like being in the boiling water all day long, and we're so used to it. It's very detrimental to our health and our own physiology. So I'm going to point out another thing that's so important. I work with horses at Braveheart, and the effect that the horses have on our bodies is the same as mirroring the patient, except we're mirroring the horse. And there have been studies that have proven this, by the way. So it's not just a guess. When we stand next to a horse, our blood pressure, breathing, and heart rate decreases just by being around them. So that is a big part of our retreats, and you're doing much more than just standing next to the horse, but that's what they contribute to the health. And it's also helps you to learn to remember how that felt, to be grounded, present, and calm. So when you get back into the warm water, you can remember that and bring yourself back into the moment and to calm yourself down. So that's a big part of how the horses help in the retreats. So, there's a lot of reasons why vacation time is so important, and those are two of the biggies: to fully recharge your batteries and to reduce stress, to physiologically help you to recover and restore. But it's also helpful to increase clarity. How much more clarity did I need when I forgot about my team party? It shifts perspective. If you travel and you meet new people, new cultures, say you go overseas and you come home, home is always more warm and it's always nice to be home. Even your office seems familiar and nice, and it's just nice to be back. So, and also we're just supposed to have more fun in life. We're not here. We always we're living to work instead of working to live. So have more fun and enjoy life. Time off is not a luxury. It's really our responsibility as a caretaker, as a medical provider, to restore ourselves. Would you want to go have surgery by a heart surgeon who has not taken any vacation in the last 5 months? I sure wouldn't. So to restore ourselves is our responsibility, and it's going to benefit our family, team, and our patients. So obviously, it's so important that we take time off. Why are we not doing it? Well, I know why I didn't do it, and I think it's a reason why most dentists don't do it is because of money. Perceived lost production. The expenses continue to tick whether we're in the office or not, and the bills need to be paid, and the team needs to be paid. So every day that we're out of the office is a deficit. It's not like we get paid vacation. So I was going through this period of trying to decide. I needed to take time off, but I also knew that it was going to affect my numbers. So I'm a numbers person, and I actually sat down and did something that I don't think most people do, and maybe it was a little OCD, but that's how we are. how I am anyway. I sat down, took my yearly expenses, and I figured out a number that was going to be meaningful to me, which was my expenses per minute when the office is open. So I didn't do per day, per hour. I did per minute. And it was 2007, and it came out to be $8.50 a minute, which is $510 an hour, but the minute was more meaningful to me. So imagine how hard it was to take a break to go to the bathroom, knowing that number, let alone take a vacation. I mean, I made the mistake of telling my team that number, and they would time me in the bathroom. So, so that was $52 you just took. So anyway, if you want to know your minute production, I'll show you how later. So let's go into some hard numbers about time off and how to actually make it work without losing production, because it's our number one reason why we don't take time off. So the first thing you need to do is figure out your days worked per year. Don't count monthly, it's per year. Take the whole year and count. So for example, say you worked 180 days in the previous year. That's 45 4-day weeks. I'm assuming you're working 4 days a week. So you're probably taking 3 to 4 weeks vacation and lots of 4-day weekends here and there, or taking some CE courses, things like that. So say you want to take 10 weeks off, 10 total weeks off. This would reduce your working days to 168 per year. And that's quite a difference. You say, how can I take that many more days off? I have $8.50 a minute. It's probably more like $11.50 a minute now because of inflation and all that. So say your daily goal was $5,000 a day, and that's $900,000 a year if you work 180 days. If you reduce that to 168 days, your goal would increase by $357 a day. So is that possible to gain that production back in order to take 10 full weeks off per year? Well, I can tell you that it is possible. I did it, and actually I took more time off and my profitability actually increased. So there's a lot of different ways you can make that happen. And one way, the most straightforward way, is take it all on yourself and say, I need to produce $357 more a day. And if you focus on that and look for that $357 a day, it happens. You can find 2 more fillings to do, or have your appointment coordinator schedule 1 more patient per day, or things like that. You can also ask your team to help you with this. Have them, the hygienists, increase their goal by $100 a day each, etc. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can also reduce your expenses. If you have a 10% supply expense and you're producing $1 million a year, if you reduce that by 2%, there's $20,000 extra in your pocket. And it actually, supplies should be down at 5 to 6% anyway. So there's a lot of ways that you can recover that extra money. Although these numbers seem to be simple, straightforward, they're pretty simple math equations. A lot of dentists and entrepreneurs in general have a hard time with this, not because of the math, but because they have limiting beliefs about money. And these come from childhood. They come from long ago. They come from other people or society. And it limits the way we're able to work with money in our lives. So let me just give you a story about that. I had a client that was in my barn, and we were working with her, and she told me that, you know, she was a dentist. She made a lot of money, but even though she was making a lot of money, she was spending way more than she made, and she never could understand, if she made more, she would just spend more. And we got down to the reason that she was unable to hang on to money was that her father had told her when she was young, over and over again, he'd say to her, "Nobody's ever going to marry you for your money." And he meant that she would never have any. Now, personally, I wouldn't want anyone to marry me for my money anyway, but what he meant was very critical, and she wasn't worthy and would never have money. So she swallowed that whole, integrated it into her whole life, and created a life that showed that gave that result. So what we did is we had her get in the round pen with the horse. And because intellectually she knew that, in her mind, she knew that money is not bad and she could have money, but it wasn't integrated into her body, her somatics, the way she felt about herself. So when she got in with the horses are rooted in the present moment. What they do is they insist that we're authentic. They insist that we're truthful and honest and that we feel what we're feeling in truth. So we explored that with the horse, and what came about was she had the experience somatically, which means in her body. She was able to shift that belief. And not just in her head, because words don't teach, it's experience. She was able to experience something different, and it shifted it for her. So another reason why I didn't take time off when I was practicing, and I know it's universal in dentists, is because I felt guilty and responsible to be in the office. How can your team take 10 weeks or 12 weeks off a year? So what happened was, when I told my team I was going to take extra weeks, their jaws dropped and they said, "Well, we can't afford to take time off. And what about our patients? And what if we have emergencies?" And so the guilt just starts to build, right? Well, never mind. I might as well just be in the office if I'm going to feel guilty about being out of the office. So again, there's a lot of ways to deal with this situation, and I'm going to go into one way that helped me, and I'm happy to expand upon it. I probably will do it in another webinar, but for now, I'm going to give you the short story. So in the same meeting that the team said they couldn't afford to be out of the office for 10 weeks, they were also complaining about the fact that they never had time to stock, clean, organize, make recare calls, look at the unscheduled list to make those phone calls to fill the schedule, and all the other things that the team has to do behind the scenes in order to make the office run really well. So I had this light bulb moment where, why does the team have to be out of the office all of the weeks that I'm out of the office? Most of them get 3 to 4 weeks paid vacation, depending on how long they've been there, maybe 2. But for the weeks that they don't have paid, what I did was have the office open. The hygienists would see patients that didn't need exams, maybe periodontal maintenance patients or people who need exams once a year, or any patient that may not need an exam. And so you've got hygiene producing, you've got your assistants in there cleaning, stocking, organizing, making phone calls, doing whatever else they need to do that they complain about not being able to do when we have patients in the office. And it's a win-win because I come back to the office, the schedule's full, everything's been done that they've said they were going to do, and they get paid for it. So the other way, I rearranged also the way I paid them. Instead of putting them on hourly, they used to sign in and sign out, and there's all these timesheets, and you know the nightmare of that. It's a payroll nightmare. And even if you have a clock they punch in and out on the computer, and send it to your payroll specialist, they're still arguing in the back about who signed in before they changed their scrubs and who didn't. So she's getting 10 more minutes a day than I am because I changed while I wasn't signed in, and you know how it goes. So what I did was take the team and I put them all on a steady salary. And how I did it was, you take all their pay for the year. Again, you're taking in a chunk of a year. All their hourly pay, all the vacation that they get, you lump it into an amount, all the paid holidays, and all their sick pay, and you lump it into one amount and divide it by 24 checks. So whether they're in the office or not, whether I'm in the office or not, their paychecks are the same every single pay period. So that really solved a lot of problems. And there's a lot of ways to do it. You got to check with your state regulations. You can't just switch without checking with the legalities of it. But again, I'm really good at that. And if you need help with it, I'm happy to coach you through. So I really want to commend you for being on this webinar and taking the time to really do something for yourself that's important, because it's really obvious how important it is to restore ourselves. And the fact that you've taken the time to learn about that is big, because you are important to a lot of people in your world, your team, your patients, and especially your family. So I commend you for taking care of yourself. I do have an opportunity coming up in November. I am facilitating a retreat for dentists. And what I'm going to be doing is integrating the horses and their beautiful, powerful work that goes to the root of the problem with the concrete business knowledge, the numbers that I talked about today. It took me years to put together what I just summarized for you in about 20 minutes. And it doesn't have to take that long. If I would have had the horses and the limiting belief busting happening when I was working on it, see, I was working on it on a surface level, just advisors telling me about numbers. It wasn't dealing with my own limiting beliefs about money. If I would have had the horses to help me to get rid of those, to release those beliefs, it would have been a much easier path. So I invite you to join us in November in Amherst, Virginia, a beautiful part of the country during that time of year. It's a beautiful working ranch, and it's a 3-day retreat where we're going to learn about the business aspect, and we're also going to combine it with the power and the experience with the horses. So I hope to see you there.